Hello, everybody, and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43, and tonight we are taking our very first look at the brand new Tier 7 campaign ship, the British heavy cruiser Nottingham. So, with that being said, let's look at our commander. I'm running Azure Lane Belfast with Francesco Mimbelli, Nikolai von Essen. We have Beyond Range. We have Full Speed Ahead. You can swap this to Igniter for this one. Again, this is just a build that I've been running on other ships, so maybe they didn't have HE. This one does, so you might want to pop on the Igniter. But I do have Punch Through, Fixated, and we are running Refill Station. Okay. For the rest of the build, we're running pretty standard Aiming Systems Mod 1, Propulsion Mod 2. You actually get to use a Propulsion mod on this thing. It does not have the built-in one, apparently. Concealment System mod, and of course we have the Epic Main Battery Mod 3 to try to get a little bit faster reload for every 30,000 damage you do, because this thing starts with a reload that's not ideal for a heavy cruiser, but it's not terrible. But it could always be better, right? As far as the rest of the loadout, we are running the Hector flag, because if you squint just right, kind of looks like a Spartan helmet. We are running the camo that comes with the ship. You can see we have 2 heals, and 5 smoke generators. The smoke generators are a kind of medium duration smoke. They pop down, allow you to shoot or use them as getaway or get out of jail free cards, depending on which situation you're in. But the main thing is they come back relatively quickly as well. Heals are fucking terrible. These are awful heals. I'm sorry, they just are. So if you're expecting a British heal, you're not getting it. It's awful. The sonar is a standard sonar, nothing crazy there. But yeah. Survivability, 35,300 hit points with this build, 7% torque production, and a 37% fire resistance. Main battery, you have 203mm 50 caliber BL Mark IIIs. You get 9 of those in a very awkward, I say awkward, it's an all at the front configuration, kind of like the defense, the Nelson, the Rodney, that sort of thing. But yeah, a hideously ugly ship that is okay. Reload time starts with this build at 10.3 seconds, gets better as we go. Main battery traverse speed, not the greatest, but not terrible. 26.5 seconds is doable. Again, they're all at the front, so the only turret that really ends up kind of being out of position sometimes is the rear turret, because it's got to do a full 180-degree sweep, whereas the front turrets, they just kind of oscillate back and forth, so they're always kind of where you need them. Shell grouping, 2.06, so pretty good there. HE shell maximum damage, 2850, with a 15% chance to set fires. It definitely does not feel like a 15% chance to set fires. And then, of course, like I said, you can throw Igniter on there and make that a little bit better if you want. It's up to you. But 34mm of armor penetration on those shells as well. So you got to kind of aim where you want to pin. They will pin 32, obviously, but again, there's a lot of thick armor in different places, and if it's angled at all, you're not going to pin it, that sort of thing. AP shell maximum damage, 4,950, so decent. I don't think it's anything crazy, but it's okay. And then armor penetration at point blank, 427 with this build. And at max range, 147. So there's quite a drop off there. With Von Essen as an inspiration, we do get a slightly better minimum ricochet angle, so 4860 instead of 4560. And then, of course, fuse arming threshold, 34. Nobody really cares about that. Unless, of course, you're shooting at a destroyer with AP. Secondary armament. You got 102mm 45 caliber Mark 4 or Mark 5s. You get 8 of those, reaching out to 5.2 kilometers, reloading in 4 seconds. Yeah, they exist. I don't think anybody's going to rely on the secondaries all that much. But HE shell maximum damage 1500 with a 6% chance to set fires. They only pin 17 mil. The torpedoes, you have 533mm QR Mark 4s. You get 16 of those. And they have decent firing angles as well, so there's that. They're not over the bow like the defense is, but they're decent overall. At least the front 2 launchers are. The rear 2, you kind of have to get yourself into trouble if you're not careful. Maximum damage for these torps with this build, 14,532. Detectability by C for these is 1.3, so pretty average. And then arming distance, 196 meters. AA defense, you have the 12.7 millimeter Mark III. You get, what, be 48 of those? Sorry, 24 of those. 24 of those doing 33 damage per second, but only out to 1.2 kilometers. And then, of course, you have the 40 millimeter 39 QF Mark 7s. You get 16 of those doing 120 damage per second, reaching out to 2.5 kilometers. And then you have the 102 millimeter 45 caliber Mark 5. You get 8 of those dual-purpose secondaries doing 38 damage per second, reaching out to 3.5 kilometers. You don't have AA, so don't fall for the defensive AA buff thing. Just don't do it. Just keep it as is. Maneuverability, not bad for this thing, 34.1 knots. A little bit faster than Americans, but altogether not a fast ship. But with the propulsion mod on, coming out of your smoke screens, you can kind of build up a lot of speed relatively quickly. Turning circle, 700 meters. It's okay. It's not quite a terrible turning circle, I wouldn't say, but just keep in mind that for a cruiser, that turning circle is about as good as a South Dakota class battleship. Put it into perspective. In terms of everything else, we don't really care about there. Does it not show? Okay, the rudder shift is 8.4 seconds. I don't know if I called that out or not. Detectability by sea, 10.1 kilometers. Shut up, stupid AI. I hate that my phone listens to me. So annoying. Anyway, detectability by air, 6.4. Guaranteed as always 2. And then a 5.4 kilometer smoke firing penalty, which is better than normal because we are running Azure Lane Belfast. All right. Win rate says it all about this ship. It is an okay ship in terms of what I've been able to do with it, but the games that I've played in it have been awful. It's not been a fun ship to take out because it just can't carry quite as well as some other ships. It does have 30 millimeters of armor everywhere, which we'll go over in a minute, but you'll see that that really doesn't mean anything because if you slightly over angle or if they're far enough out, the shells come in at an angle that's enough to go through anyway. We'll talk about that in a minute. But average XP 1742, even with most of my games being losses, so that should tell you everything you need to know. Armor. You have 30 millimeters of armor pretty much everywhere, and then it looks like you got a little bit of an armor belt back here, but that's actually your exposed citadel. Okay? So anybody who's wanting to citadel snipe this thing, just aim for the funnels. Aim for the funnels, you'll citadel the ever-living piss out of this thing. But having 30 millimeters of armor everywhere, in theory, is a good thing, right? Problem is, it's so goddamn flat. Now, up here at the front, you can see it's a little curved, but everywhere else, you can see it clearly is just flat everywhere. Maybe a slight angle, but it's not particularly good armor. Any battleship at all, if they catch you slightly over-angled, they're going to slap you. Shells coming in through the deck is a big problem on this ship as well, so range is an issue. You kind of want to ride the lightning and be within medium range, right? You want to be kind of up close and personal. It does have 8-kilometer torpedoes, and you get 16 of them, so you can kind of use that to your advantage a little bit. If you're up close sufficiently enough, the only battleship that you really have to worry about is the Georgia, because it overmatches 30 mil. But the problem is, again, most of the time, if you're able to use all 3 of these turrets, you're over-angled, okay? Just to put that into perspective. You will be punished if you try to get that third turret in somebody shooting back at you. So you got to plan accordingly. Use the Dreadnought Shuffle in this thing as best you can to try to mitigate damage. Use your smoke screens, preferably if you have any sort of spotting. But yeah, as you can see, if we peel away all the extra armor, you'll see that there is absolutely a ridiculous citadel here, and it is screaming for attention. And everything seemingly, I mean, you can see even all the way up here to the superstructure, it may not be all the way out to the border, so you have a little bit of a spaced armor situation there. But, I mean, you can see how big and how high this citadel is. It is absurd. So, any mistake gets punished by death. Okay? Hidden. Good concealment means the ship can get closer to enemies before being detected. I could honestly make an argument for this ship to be a full concealment build. That would allow you to get a little bit closer than even normal. I haven't tried it, but I would assume that you'd be able to get into the 8s. Like 8 kilometer plus, a little bit, between 8 and 9 kilometers concealment, my guess. Area denial, above average number of available torpedo tubes. Again, we talked about that, has 16 of them. Sequential can be fired tube by tube, although I wouldn't recommend it. You have enough torpedoes, you don't need to launch them tube by tube. Just let them be a salvo. Anyway, Nottingham. After signing the Washington Naval Treaty, Great Britain immediately got down to the task of designing cruisers. One of the great enthusiasts for the development of a new cruiser class was Sir George Thurston, who designed such ships as Congo and Erin. In 1926, he presented 3 cruiser projects to the Royal Navy. Projects A and B resembled the County-class cruisers, while Project C turned out to be a more radical. This innovative design, is it innovative or is it hideous? Positioned the main battery turrets at the bow to achieve a better concentration of fire. She was designed in 1926 and apparently never built. But, I mean, of all the oil tankers to put guns on, this isn't the worst looking one. But it's still, I mean, it's a goofy design, let's be real. It is a goofy design. But with all of that being said, let's get to the gameplay. Alrighty, so we're going to be on Tears of the Cruiser. I mean, Tears of the Desert. And we are in the Nottingham. And just in perfect time, we managed to get a game full of destroyers and a carrier. Yay! Everybody's favorite type of game. It's my favorite. I don't know about you guys. It's guaranteed to be enthralling to make any sort of fun, right? But despite all that, we are actually going to have a little bit of fun in this match, despite everything. So, yeah, you guys, hopefully you guys are ready. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there for those of you wondering, what do I think about the ship? I think it's fine. It's okay. I wouldn't say it's anything great. I wouldn't say it's anything terrible. I think it's a fine ship. I just wouldn't necessarily pick it over some other ships, but I mean, if you don't have anything else and you want a fun little campaign cruiser, like 2,500 doubloons, it's a good deal. As with every campaign, if you spend the bet, I've said it for the entire time that this game has been in there, the single best way to spend any doubloons that you want to spend on the game is by buying the Admiralty backing. 2,500 doubloons gets you so much stuff, including a free ship, or I say a free ship, you paid for it, but including a ship, a premium ship, and of course Tier 7 being the tier that offers the highest win bonus for premium silver earnings and stuff like that. A lot of people ask, what is the best way to earn silver? Well, Tier 7 offers the highest bonus, so if you have a premium Tier 7 ship, like the Nottingham, you can earn quite a bit of silver. But, that being said, you are going to want to switch ammo types on this. They give you 2 ammo types, you got to use them. And learning to use both types is going to be crucial for this thing specifically, because while the AP is solid, you saw how much the armor penetration drops off at distance, so it really does kind of struggle at distance. You can see even turning away, like any shells that hit you from this distance are going through pretty much anywhere. You're going to just take a ton of damage from plunging fire. And I've even taken plunging citadels, which is annoying. But up close and personal, if you can get within that 10-kilometer range, it's a lot harder for most battleships to deal with you, because A, you have torpedoes, and most of them don't, and B, you can kind of brawl with them, because you have 30 millimeter of armor everywhere, and if you've ever seen me utilize ships that have 30 mil, you can see how dangerous these kind of ships can be. But I want you guys to pay attention to a couple things. I want you guys to pay attention to our 2 destroyers that are sitting right on top of one another as this freaking Flounder is charging straight into them. Right? I want you to pay attention to that. I want you to pay attention to this Iowa. right? This Flaunder has sailed into the bee's nest. Not only am I here shooting him, but he's got cross-torque. Well, I would say cross-torque, but he's not really cross-torque. But our destroyers wander out of their smoke screen, find the enemy destroyer right next to him, and of course that's a bad thing for them, because now not only are they being shot by the enemy destroyer, but now they're going to be shot by the Flaunder as well. And they just kind of sat there and watched this happen from their smoke screen, hoping that bad things never happen. But that's not the way the world works. Now here, as he gives me a full broadside, obviously I'm going to switch over to the AP. You can see the HE is fantastic. The AP is pretty good here as well, as we want to aim above the armor belt. We're not going to Citadel him, so we just want to get as many pins as possible. So we're going to go for above the armor belt, into the superstructure area as well, and just try to get as much penetrations as possible. And we're getting 5 pins per salvo. I mean, we're raking this guy with some pretty good fire. And you can see how accurate it is as well. I mean, it's pretty nasty. There's another 6 pins. We're up over 50,000 damage already. And this just kind of shows the damage potential. We haven't even used the torpedoes, really. I did put the torpedoes out in hopes that he would try to go through the gap on the left. He comes out, swings at me. I'm going to try to angle away here. I take a couple of meaningless pins. Don't really do anything. And then we shoot his superstructure with HE again, try to finish him off, and then we go ahead and damage control. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I almost forgot. This damage control is also very short, so anytime that you use the damage control, you got to be careful that you're not going to immediately be set back on fire or something like that. So keep that in mind. But as we take a shot over the island, you'll see that this thing at distance is capable of lobbing even some ridiculous islands to drop some shells on top of them. And you can see I hit him with 5 shells, even at that range, blind, using only AI or the auto aim to try to hit him. Now we unfortunately lost 1 destroyer, who was on the other side of the map, but you can see there was 2 destroyers there against him, 1 battleship over there fighting for that side of the map, I guess. And then I'm going to be coming over here to try to fight these Nebraskas. Now, I get spotted by the enemy destroyer initially, firing my guns, and so I'm already turning to angle away. This thing does have really good firing angles over the rear of the ship, so if you can get into a kiting position like this, it can be pretty beneficial. But you can see we get a fire there, and of course he's going broadside to us, so we're going to go ahead and switch over to the AP, I think, or I thought I was going to. Maybe I take another shot here, but he actually starts turning towards us because he's dodging torpedoes from our guy that's right next to him. Now again, if you've got 50 goddamn torpedoes and reload boosters, how in the world do you miss? Right? Like, come on, stop stacking your torps, spread them out so that it's a little easier, says the person who literally just drops his torps with no hope of hitting, but you never know, right? But as he opens the angle here, you can see he gets some good pins in through the side of the ship, and I accidentally reverse out of the smoke, which is not ideal. But we lost our Friesland there, so that's the 2nd destroyer gone. The other 2 destroyers are over here fighting 1 destroyer, right? Fighting 1! They're fighting 1 goddamn destroyer. Now, Carl's coming over as well, so we're going to go ahead and try to get some shots into him. We've got the AP loaded. So again, we're going to aim high here, trying to keep our distance. And I want you guys specifically to pay attention to what this Iowa ends up doing next. Now, this is one of the things you will notice is if you're getting shot with HE, like this thing is going to break everything. You've got so many torp tubes to break. You've got all the engines right there, the funnels right there. So your engine gets knocked out a ton. But any HE that comes in is kind of devastating. And like I said, the heal on this thing is not very good. And then on top of that, like, you only get 2 of them with this build, so you got to keep that in mind. Of course, he gets the fire. Now, you do have the shortened cruiser fires, so it's not like the Alaskas and stuff where you have the full fire. This is a shortened fire, so even though we get a single fire against us here, it's not that terrible. But you can kind of see what I'm thinking of doing here. You can see the Adventurer, or whatever it's called. He's kind of hanging around. Unfortunately, we lose our Laffy as well. And so now all 4 of our destroyers are dead. That leaves the rest of the team to try to pick up the slack against 3 destroyers and 2 battleships. Now, and then of course you got the carrier there as well. And you would think this would be the time where the battleship would want to stick next to me at all times and try to help me win this, right? Knowing that there's a Carl over here, I'm not the most scared of a Carl, and I know they're destroyers here as well. Again, I'm not the most scared of their destroyer. We are going to drop some torpedoes here just in case he decides to come around the corner. But you'll see he gets into the A-cap here, and then I'm like, okay, so he's coming around the front. So I'm going to put myself in a defensible position. I've got, obviously, the right side torpedo launchers ready to go, and so I want to put myself in a position where I can try to counter him. And now I do have to give a shout-out to the carrier player here. most carrier players would go wherever their teammates are in terms of like a group of teammates, and they would try to help that side or whatever. This guy ends up coming over here to help me because I'm the only one over here, right? So I appreciate that, and I do say that in the match too. But you can see Carl is coming around the corner. We're already spotted by the destroyer, so that tells me the destroyer's not an idiot, so we're not going to be able to really do much with him. But we're going to go ahead and drop that. We're going to try to get a shot over the island. Only the rear turrets make it through, and you can see he gets a double fire and obliterates everything on our ship. And then we're going to go ahead and drop our smoke screen, I believe, right as we're about to fire. And of course, he gets another fire immediately. And that's what I'm talking about with this ship and its ability to have that damage control be so short. It's kind of like the Yamato and other Japanese battleships where the damage control is so short that a lot of times your normal like timing in your head for when you want to damage control and stuff ends up actually being wrong. Now we do land 2 torpedoes there, and one of them caused a flood. You can see he is flooding out, which is good for us. And then the carrier, I believe, is going to swoop in and finish him off. And you can see I do load AP here just in case I have to shoot the guy again. And I was well aware that these guys are torpedoing. I mean, it's pretty obvious. So we're going to not stay in the same location. We're going to charge forward into our smoke. The carrier does manage to finish off the Carl. And you can see just a wall of skill coming in from both of the destroyer and the battleship. But again, we knew that was coming, right? So now it's time for me to move forward, try to grab this cap if I can. Obviously, the destroyer's not dumb enough to put himself in a position where I can counter him, unfortunately. So the next problem that I'm going to face isn't so much the destroyer, it's the carrier. The carrier is going to try to attack me, and you can see there's a Scharnhorst on my left coming into the Bravo cap, and he's full health, because of course he is. Nobody's done any damage on this fucking team. Shocker. So as that unfolds, now I've not only got to worry about the carrier and the destroyer, I also have to worry about the Scharnhorst. Meanwhile, our intrepid frickin' Iowa class is going back to hold hands with the carrier, which some might say is historically accurate. I love the Iowas, but I mean, let's be honest, that's basically all they really did. Shore bombardment and shoot down planes. That's what they did. Gigantic AA platform. But we dodge all the torpedoes we can. You can see he's trying to turn, the carrier player is trying to turn too sharply. Doesn't manage to get his torps off in the right places. We're going to go ahead and start knocking on the door of the Scharnhorst, which could have been a bad idea. Maybe I should have held off on knocking on the door of this Scharnhorst a little bit here, because he's going to immediately turn his attention to me, because why wouldn't he? There's nothing else for him to worry about. I mean, the Iowa's running to the back corner of the map. He's not a threat to anything. Of course, as soon as I turn my back on him, the little turd blossom decides he wants to start shooting at me. Again, not the worst thing, because now I've got the guns on the left side, so I'm ready to shoot him there. And I'm just waiting for my freaking my ship to turn. And this is that turning circle we talked about. Not exactly ideal. But you can see he goes dark. We are going to hit him with a couple of shells here, but because I was trying to get that shot on him, now I am flat broadside for this Scharnhorst, who's about to get us spotted as he backs off of the island in front of us. And even though I'm trying to turn, he is going to get a shot through the cheek. And I mean, it only takes a couple of shells to finish this thing off. But I tried, guys. I fought my backside off, but there's only so much you can do when you've got people like this on your team. And not to mention our 4 destroyers that basically did nothing. They killed 1 destroyer between the 4 of them. That's absurd. But, again, that's things you're going to have to fight with. You're not always going to have a perfect match. And, again, I showcased the ship to the best of my abilities. I showcased the strengths, the weaknesses, and I think I did that pretty well in this match. You guys got to see some of the smoke firing penalty in action. You guys got to see the AP, the HE, some of the torps, and you got to see the weakness of the ship when caught. So I hope that this has given you guys the amount of information that you guys need to make your own choice of whether you want the ship or not. I think that the average player is probably not going to do very well in the ship. I think the more advanced players, especially cruiser captains that know what they're doing, I think they're obviously going to have an advantage with the ship. But I think that there are definitely better options out there for premium tier 7 cruisers. But 125,000 damage, top of the leaderboard, 1,300 base XP. The rest of the team, not so much. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.